तुम्हारा लेकिन थोड़ा ज्यादा तुम्हें तो स्ट्रेंजर्स में आ गए, मेरे तो क्लोज लोगों ने मुझे बिट्रे किया। तुम्हारे साथ तुम मेरे ख्याल से रिलाई करने लगे। You were also holding on to somebody to trust, somebody to give you that feeling of grounding and trust. Maybe. That's why you were.
Let me tell you how I'm wired. Tell me of another name of some school kid you studied with who was good in academics, who was excellent in sports and athleticism, who also performed on stage and anchored for his school, and was also really popular among women. Tell me if you know of another kid. Perhaps nobody like me, or even innovative, even at that age, right? Then tell me of another person who lived as free-spirited as I did from my college until now, made on ideas and around nature, with exploring. Do you know of anyone else? Do you know of anyone in your 36 years of life who was in this kind of a backdrop as our family and financial situations, who dropped out of college, had no cushion, took no job, ended up raising money, losing that money, and still continued the adventurous journey?
I know, I did that.
Yeah, like you didn't have a job, you didn't take a degree.
I did that in last 2 years.
In last 2 years, I'm talking about that age.
I was living a very conventional life, for sure. I lived the very conventional life.
Right.
Safe conventional.
Right. But you know of anyone like me until today? There must be something different going on with me. Right? So the way others think, I don't think like that. I have a very different, extremely optimistic way of looking at things. And that literally, I don't know where it comes from, but whenever I wish to articulate it in any context, I am able to, because of the clarity I have in my mind. So, in the event that you thought could have been the way you looked at it in my life, the recent one, that's not how I look at it. I'll tell you how I look at it. There's something I understand about life, which is when you seek something with such commitment as I do, when I do, you don't leave any other option. So at some point, I started thinking about getting the truth of fundamental matters. What is gravity? How did life originate in the universe? But not only did I think of it part-time, I actually went full-time in this topic. Yeah.
I now understand it. In 2 years I'm doing this.
Right.
Went deep into it.
Right.
But in a different way. बिल्कुल opposite है मेरा तुम्हारा.
Right.
लेकिन complementary.
I recognize that. But you know, the good part is, like, I was doing it at 26, so I have a 10-year command on this now. At 26 was my first samadhi, and then just going deep into this topic, but never losing sight of what my original dream was, which was really the anchor, or maybe the matter which had maximum gravity in my life. So no matter what the situation, the gravity of this matter was so much for me that it always pulled me back to itself. So nothing else distracted me, and I was back into this. So when I was with, let's say, in college or in school, when I was into sport like that. Nothing else mattered. It contained gravity for me. Or if I had a lady in life, then she contained gravity. But at different times, I was really living in the present, and then immersing myself in totality in that present. And out of so many options, my dream to build a social network remained with me. Most importantly, because social networking was also a culture, and my presence anywhere was also establishing always some kind of a culture of more courage, more free spiritedness,
Freedom.
Yeah, and also people feeling free, just free to talk.
You
to me
also
about
hate
anything.
labels and boxings, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Always. I've never really had any in my career until today. I mean, until now, there is no boxing or labeling that I have been. So I was quite early on this journey. Quite early. It's only now that and the kind of stuff I've written and uploaded on my YouTube or Instagram, it would still take many years for many people to really understand to be able to label me into something. Uh, and someday I should be labeled into something for holding that designation, which stands for the values I am made of. So someday that label will be put, but today it would be very difficult for people to comprehend all
I
that.
think it should be. There is no.
Like somebody is
feel
the Prime Minister of India, the label is the Prime Minister of India.
that's one.
But that's generally the label. What is the label?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
it's a grand label.
Funny.
But it's a grand label. A grand label is fine. Also, the elements of spirituality in my business are age old. Before this stuff was even being spoken about. So something was really different about how I was thinking and how I was never really ever a part of any kind of race. I was just pure creative being who was not looking at any sense. I had no sense of competition with anybody. I just loved the, the, the presence of the ingredients of adventure, of romance, of being accepted, being loved, uh, uh, facing challenges, extraordinary challenges, unfathomable challenges. It kept raising my bar. And I seemed to understand that because at the fundamental, the most I desired was I never ever concentrated to this point on any topic than the topic of that which all matter, which is all waves. Not particles, there are no particles. Everything is waves. That which all waves are riding on. So I just concentrated so deeply on this that it started to be more about knowing what is the truth of life. And then when you dabble on a topic as deep as truth of life, then you want to know truth on everything. And once you become that kind of heart, then the truth you want to know is of also society, also justice,
Yeah.
also education,
Yeah.
also yoga, also religion, also politics. Because there's never any boxing. So I went into all
हर
these.
चीज में फिर वो amplify
Right.
हर business में भी.
Right. So I went into that kind of spirit that whatever was going to happen or was happening in my life was only training me. If it wasn't killing me, it was only making me stronger, and I was seeing the consequence of it by the day. By every 6 months, I was chancing upon a leap in my life. That others could not have understood what that leap was. But if they read me well, perhaps those who read me, perhaps those who work with me. I don't know another fact about me that will also again be unmatched is that I don't know of any other company that runs the way I do. There is no model of salary and I'm still producing things. So, one should wonder how is that happening. So I put creativity in everything and it comes naturally to me. So when I came upon such a challenging situation as such unfathomable injustice and fighting forces that are powerful, I really saw that as an opportunity to prepare myself for bigger fights because by that time I had already understood how big this problem was. And because it was so big and it impacted millions of people across the world, it became like a very interesting problem to look to solve.
Which
The problem of injustice. So I don't look at anything as even a moment of being a victim of anything.
yes, I was coming to that.
Yeah, so look, like my narrative or my way of perceiving things is so different is what I'm trying to get to. That every single time, so all that I was looking for somebody to give me, cushion or shoulder. No, this is all narratives of others who have lived that life, who have wanted that life, who have done everything conventional from school, college, to job, marriage, and have done, everything unconventional. So definitely one has to appreciate that. It's about time that 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 understanding that yes, on all these metrics, I have never met anybody like Sunny. If this is true, then there's something very different going on with this boy. And if this is forgotten, then I will always be perceived not the way I am, but with the kind of exposure others have.
And that is also going to.
I'm not talking about others. I'm only talking about you.
Oh.
So when you have your eyes set on those metrics, that yeah, like nobody like him there, nobody like him there, nobody like him there, nobody like him there, then there's something very very different about this guy, and it's perhaps impossible to be able to perceive it from the other side without hearing him or reading him and going through all his content. But it may be worth it because this guy is special, you know. So only with that one can understand how I look at things and what may be the consequence or possibility for that kind of a mind. My mind itself is an extraordinary product that I already know. I am able to sense, I am able to intuit about the future. So when I was talking about social network, it was only not even the beginning of that, and look at that becoming the biggest industry of our times. But not just that, COVID, my response to COVID, just look at how free-spirited I am. Never a mask, never inoculation, no injection, no medicines. So where is fear?
Uh-huh.
So it's all gone. The influence of the
But
outside.
fear is the foundation of the entire world of injustice.
Yeah, but that's why I'm a very special case and I deserve to be the front man in this fight. But not only in this fight, but all the fights that are associated with this fundamental truth of my own life, which is life lived of freedom. Historically, anybody would try to dig me, look at my bank accounts, they should wonder, what the fuck, how is this guy surviving? So this should make them get excited about finding a new breed leader, a possible potentially impactful leader for India in the future. And I have seen it from the grassroots to technology and exchange notes and offers from the best in the industry. So that once kept in mind would never make you want to conclude as a perception, always initiate like the way you did now as a dialogue. So I'm not that guy who thinks of life like that. Even that's why I was so frustrated with how my family responded. I was even more frustrated because it's impossible for a majority of the world to ever get their head around a mind like mine, a personality like mine, let alone family. Majority of the world is not going to understand. So families are mostly mediocres and majority, So they are not going to really be able to even understand. So my frustration was coming from this final realization that, come on, man, I'm on the journey to truth. I do not have the metrics like you guys, that there is some society I'm answerable to, or there is some family that I am answerable to, or there is some house rent that I am paying, or there's some tax that I have to pay, there is some child I have to look after. I'm living in the realm of ideas and knowledge, and I can do that from anywhere. So I welcome their move of delivering such atrocity upon me and enabling me to go to my core and ignore all else, because nothing was worth looking at for me at that point. And I have done this many times in my life, and I've always found a lot of meaning in these challenging spots. I thrive on them, and I am there transforming into now not just a tech or math entrepreneur, but somebody who was always aware of doing what he was doing, not because of capitalism or entrepreneurial rat race, but only because he really wanted to solve some fundamental problem. Because he knew nobody in the world has the education vision that he has from chat to do. Nobody is really even beginning to talk about the importance of math that we are, and everybody's going to know. Nobody really truly even has the ability to express God without joining dogmas, including some great leaders who are being criticized left, right, and center today, but for very definitely correct reasons. And I am not biased, but something doesn't connect between me and that leader or the others of that breed who are literally being worshipped blindly. And that also frustrates me about my family, but I am right there, and they're not able to recognize that this guy may have the best answers because we know for sure that he has not looked at insurance policies, health insurance, marriage, no cushioning, absolutely none. And when the greatest powers came upon to attack him, he simply said, "Do whatever the hell you'd like," you know. And he went inside and he suggested to his family that not a single penny will be paid to anybody. And yet, some moves were made, and it was just very irritating for me to finally realize how different I am and how impossible it is for somebody like me to be within that sheep culture, So that response looked like I was in some kind of trouble, and so I should look at some psychiatric help or psychologist, like your video had suggested, as an assumption, which comes from a very kind and compassionate place. I'm not denying that, but it also tells me that maybe this is the moment in which you can finally realize and recognize who I am, or never. That those functions are not for men of my blood and skin, or women of my blood and skin. Those are for the mediocres. Those are for those who go to yoga schools to study yoga, not established on one singular mission for decades, timelessly. I mean, you wouldn't even come across somebody who has a level of perseverance as I do. 2007 social network, 2020 also social network. There is nothing else in between. Of course, because of that journey, some knowledge was earned. Out of that knowledge, some other products got spun off, and some attention was paid on me. That some important, very talented team members joined me without the demand for which they join everyone else. Their salary. So that journey. No, not right now. It's all those topics are irrelevant to me.
No, I'll tell you how I see it.
No, but wait, let me.
For myself.
Hear me out, but I already know though. Everyone who goes to these ends, I'm not against it.
No, but that's what I want to clarify, because people go for different reasons. I went for a different reason. So for me, in my case, what happened is that my mind is actually like water. And it's extremely sensitive. मैं जो है 10 लोग होंगे सबके अंदर को देख लेती हूँ, बहुत ज़्यादा, बहुत deeply देख सकती हूँ मैं उनके पूरा life.
But how do you know? But I don't think you are able to see me for who I am.
Because I've never tried.
Right, you've never tried to.
I've never. So
But how do you know you would know a person of the kind that you don't see any other replacement or substitute for? How would
I
you have
see
that
everybody as unique. मुझे सब लोग अलग.
Right, but I'm talking about something that is beyond the realm of this sort of statement, like everyone is unique. Because while everyone is unique,
no, I actually
I'm
genuinely.
talking about somebody very unconventional. Right,
तो वो अनकन्वेंशनल, वो तो मैं देखती हूँ. मैं तुम्हें बता रही हूँ जो मैं लोगों के अंदर.
कन्वेंशंस के थ्रू कैसे मुझे आंका जा सकता था?
नहीं आंका जा सकता.
राइट, तो बट कोशिश हमेशा वही हुई. तभी शायद मुझे बिल्कुल
मैं तुम्हें नहीं जानना था. एक्चुअली मैं अपनी ये बात बता रही हूँ कि मैं क्योंकि इतनी ज़्यादा डिस्टर्ब, बिकॉज मैंने ये चीज़ की, मेरा थोड़ा जब मैं योगा करना शुरू किया और ध्यान में बैठना शुरू किया, तो मेरे साथ एक अनकंट्रोलेबल चीज़ ये हुई कि मैं लोगों के अंदर तक देखने लगी और मुझे उस चीज़ का सेंस मिलता कि वो क्या है. एनिमल्स के भी इमोशंस मुझे समझ में आ रहे, बीमारियाँ समझ में आ रही. मैंने अपना माइग्रेन क्योर से कुछ रीज़न होगा, कुछ किया होगा, क्योंकि मैं समझ के अंदर तक देखना. सो पॉइंट इज कि मैं इतनी डिस्टर्ब हो गई थी, मेंटली इतनी ज़्यादा डिस्टर्ब हो गई थी. आसपास जो लोगों को समझ में नहीं आ रहा था वो मेरे साथ हुआ. आई वेंट टू साइकोलॉजिस्ट बेसिकली टू से कि ये मेरे गोल्स हैं. मैं इतनी बह गई हूँ कि मुझे ये 4 चीज़ों में अभी अपने को फोकस करना है. तो तुम अगर मेरे घर आओगे तो देखोगे मेरी पूरी दीवारों पे फ्लो चार्ट्स बने हुए, मेरे माइंड मैप्स, हाउ माई माइंड वर्क्स, व्हाट डू आई. So I got a psychologist for me interview करके to ensure कि I stay on track. That is a very different role from everybody else who goes to psychiatrist. वो लोग जाते हैं अपनी problems discuss करने. मैं उनसे कभी पूछती नहीं कि मेरी problem है diagnose करना. इसीलिए लॉली से मुझे diagnose करना और मैं कुछ to piss me off. a lot. Okay, how can you label me? This is so limited. So I just wanted to clarify that. So when I told you about psychiatrist, वहाँ का भी गोल वहाँ का गोल ये था कि तुम्हारे साथ से इतना नेगेटिव ट्रीटमेंट हुआ होगा, इतना अब्यूज हुआ होगा, तो मेरे ख्याल से साइकोलॉजिस्ट कैन हेल्प यू सेपरेट.
To tell you the truth,
बस वो गोल था.
not to sound audacious or pompous, if that psychologist needs some mental help, I can help. You know?
So ultimately, I ended up counseling my own psychiatrist.
Yeah, so that's why.
We are not perfect.
How do you know I know about these things? How do you think? When you may
That
be
was
dealing
the
with
goal of
right now I already know that, but what I'm trying to tell you is that I am maybe 10, 15, 20 years ahead in that level, in that segment of wisdom.
हाँ बिल्कुल होगा.
So
मैं तो अपने
mind
बारे में
maps.
My mind map was my emotions. I am
Right.
deep with emotions.
Right, perfect. No, that's cool. So basically, one can choose the composition of matter, whether emotions or ideas, people or ideas.
Mine never.
So that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is that all the lens through which, instead of hearing me completely, almost like you are empty, I cannot be understood. And the values that I can impart, to start with my own family, because I am the biggest example in front of them that they are overlooking. I can be that best example from the context of health, from the context of oration, from the context of knowledge, from the context of spontaneity, from the context of leadership, from the context of yoga, from the context of religion, from the context of politics, from the context of what is free-spiritedness, you know. But I have been totally, completely ignored, and I know that I have. I have
And they will not understand.
No, I don't want any of them to understand. I have taken some leap, already. But I'm trying to tell you why. So for me, none of this is. I mean, of course, who doesn't want some warmth, some love, care, hug, the kind of food you brought today? But the trade-off for being in that, it's like a sacrifice you have to make. Because you have such incredible merit that this merit should not get wasted. The world needs this merit. All the hypocrisy and all the facade in the name of spirituality